So, a few weeks ago, my neighbor Mike asked me how to roast a pig, and I told him we'd do it together. So today we're roasting a pig. Now in this video, I'm gonna show you everything you need to know about how to prep a pig, how to season it, how to put it on the rotisserie, roasting it, coal management, everything. There's a lot of really awesome tips along the way, and I'll put links in the timeline down below so you can jump ahead to certain points too if you need to reference. Now, if we're meeting for the first time, my name is Michael Ponzio and I make cooking videos for you. All right, so we're gonna take several steps on this. The first thing we're gonna do is, I already dried this off. So when it's dry like this, it's gonna lose more moisture and allow the skin to caramelize better, so we'll have a nice, like, crispier skin. But we're gonna flip this over and we gotta start prepping the inside first. So remove the innards. You wanna save these?
No. Yes.
I'm gonna cut out the kidneys or pull them out. Just because as these cook, they get kind of nasty.
Yeah.
But now with these mussels, what we want to do is actually take this liquid. So I made the brine. I'll throw the brine recipe down below. Pull it up to fill this, and then we're going to stick this into the big mussel cuts and slowly press it in. So you come right here and slowly press it, and you'll see it start to puff up. See that?
Oh, yeah.
So what this is doing is it's putting sodium, sugar, flavor all inside the mussel. So as it cooks, it's gonna have more moisture and more liquid, and it's also gonna be more plump. You wanna do the next one?
Yeah.
Beautiful. All right, so you wanna get up on these shoulders too. On a bigger pig, there's a lot more to do.
Yep.
But getting there and then getting here with the loin too,
Okay.
because this is a drier cut, it doesn't have a lot of fat, so
Okay.
that brine will help.
So these two?
Yep. They just need a little. So if you think about how much liquid is actually in here and how much you're pushing into these little mussels, that's plenty. And you can feel, I mean, they've really plumped up quite a bit.
Yeah.
So I do this when I do pulled pork. I do this for certain big muscle cuts that are tougher or could be drier. So next we're gonna season the inside. So we're gonna rub this all throughout the inside. So I give it a shake first to start to distribute, because the problem is, and the reason we brine is because you're not gonna get seasoning on all the parts of the big muscle. So we push it on the inside, and then you rub it on the outside as well.
Which rub is this?
This is my steak seasoning. So it's got garlic powder, onion powder, salt, cayenne, paprika, pepper. So then just rub this really in and massage it into all the muscles. And then we'll actually use salt on the outside of the pig so that we're not adding all this coloration to it. So now that the inside's seasoned, we're gonna put it on the spit, and then we'll secure it with a U-hook, we'll tie it, we'll do the whole thing. So this is a little guy. So we're gonna come all the way through here.
Right out the mouth.
Yep.
Now where exactly do you put the bottom end?
So in a perfect world, this would have been connected by a bone, but it's not. So we're gonna use this to spear it, and then we'll actually tie these parts, the hoofs, to this pole. So if you think about it, when it roasts, it's gonna be like this, okay? So this comes on, and honestly, we may not, because of the size of the pig, even end up using this to secure.
I think
but
you
it's
can get them.
it still helps to just kind of keep the head in place, see?
Yeah.
And then this goes on to lock that in place, if you can lock that.
How far up?
Just until it's locked and secured. We just don't want it to move. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna tie this guy up. So we'll take it like this, and then just the term hog tie, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and then after it's tied, then we'll secure it with these.
Okay.
You really can't over tie this, like, because you're just gonna cut it later. So I tied each foot, so I tied to one foot, then I tied to the other foot, and then I started tying them together. So we're gonna put the U-hook in right here between the ribs and jam it through, and then we'll use that to secure the pig to make sure that it's not flopping around on us. There we go. So this guy goes on. And then these. And we just gotta tighten those, and then we'll sew this guy up, and we're set. So as this cooks, it shrinks. So what we could do is tighten it a little more if we have to while it's cooking, you know? All right. and then, do you know how to stitch?
I don't.
So,
Like home ec.
exactly. So come through both. Pull it all the way through. And then you're gonna do the same way. So when you come back, just come back the same way. It's kind of easy one-sided stitch. But you wanna make sure you pull all the tension in the string first so that it stays tight.
It's okay that I get meat?
Yeah. Get neighbor Mike, he's a seamstress.
Yeah, well done.
That looks awesome. Take a look at that. Nice job. So that's as high up as you need to go.
It is?
Yeah. Yeah, because you're not gonna, so this part, the jowl, you're not gonna be able to sew that shut, and it's not gonna make a difference when you do.
Okay.
So you were asking earlier about chopping it all up. So pulled pork, it has to get to like 200 degrees. After it hits 195, all the connective tissue starts to break down and it starts to pull. But like a pork loin on the inside is perfect at 140. So it's like when you do this, if you're not gonna chop it all up and mix it, and you just leave the loin's gonna be extremely overcooked. But if you chop it and mix it with all the fat and all the grease. So I always, when I do a whole hog, I chop the whole thing up and mix it all together. So like they do in the Carolinas.
So what temperature is this thing gonna get to?
We're gonna take this guy to about 204 degrees, and then we'll take it off, and it'll just rest for about a half hour, and it'll just gain more moisture and kind of soften up. All right, last step is to treat the skin, and we'll get this thing spinning.
Okay.
So you want to take the hog and make gentle, very gentle cuts in the skin. You're just scoring it. And what that does is that pierces it, but you don't want to go through the fat. You want to leave the fat all on there, so you need a sharp knife to do this.
Are you actually doing it right now? Or?
Yeah. It's a sharp knife, so you can't see really that well. If you had a better light, you'd be able to see. And then you come this way. And as this cooks, that allows the skin to render, and it's going to get crispier. If we leave this solid, it's going to be very leathery. But by doing this, you're allowing moisture to escape from the skin.
Basically making
Chicharrones.
yeah. I'm still sweating from sewing it up.
Okay, so we're going to rub this with salt.
Okay. What kind of salt?
This is just sea salt. I like sea salt or kosher salt. It's a little bit bigger. And all those little slits you made, it's going to kind of catch in there a little bit. But I don't salt the skin too early because I don't want to pull too much moisture out, and then it's going to have a harder time crisping up. Perfect. Okay. Sew this guy up.
Staring at my soul.
Okay. So you should be able to, if you spin it, feel it not be too heavy in any one side. Like this is really nice actually.
Oh yeah.
See? Okay, and then we just want this to be nice and tight. So we're gonna use indirect heat for this, meaning we're gonna put coals on each side but not underneath, because as the pig cooks it's gonna drip, and if it's dripping on the fire you're gonna have big flare-ups. Now when you're setting up your coals for the smoker, you want to make sure that each side has coals but none down the middle. This is very important because as the pig spins and it cooks, it starts to render fat, and that fat would drip directly on the coals. Right now I have some food down there being basted while this is cooking. But if it's dripping onto lit coals, what's going to happen is you're going to have flare-ups, and it's going to burn your pig and char your pig without allowing it to slowly rotisserie and cook and render properly. Another important tip is the way the coals look. So if you take a look, there is no open flame on these coals. They are just burning embers. So you want to make sure your embers cook nice and slow, and just gradually adding more coals as it's needed. If you just load this up with fire and just have a big fire going and blasting, again, your pig's going to burn, and it's not going to get this kind of golden, beautiful rendering that's happening. You can see the glossy sheen on it. This is all fat dissolving and coming out and rendering and basting the pig both inside and out. So our pig's been at it for about 3.5 hours. It's a 27-pound pig. We're eating an internal temperature of about 140 degrees right now in the back ham part of the pig. That's great. We want to get this up another 60 degrees, so we're going to let this keep going. In about 20 degrees, I'm actually going to raise the heat so we can start to really souffle and crisp the skin and get that glass-like finish on the pork. All right, so we're coming near the end. Our pig is at 200 degrees. It's just finishing spinning. We had a little bit of rain, so we had to throw this tent up, but let's take a look. Looking gorgeous. So you can see the skin has crisped up really nicely. We threw a few logs on at the end just to kiss it with a little bit of smoke while it's going through its crisping process, but it looks absolutely fantastic. These lines here, these are from the blood that dripped in the very beginning that is starting to caramelize, but you can see it's got a great sheen. The skin is crispy. It's dripping some beautiful, beautiful juices out of it. What we're gonna do is get this off the spit and let this rest for about a half an hour before picking.
What am I doing?
All right, so just take it and break it. You're gonna be able to pull it right off, right in here. And then the last part will be the finishing of it, where we're gonna toss it in the sauce, season it a little bit more, but it shouldn't need much because we brined it.
Okay.
So you can start from right up here.
Yeah. Pull it?
Yeah. Hot, right?
Yeah.
Double gloving makes a big difference though.
It's got to make a huge difference. Right here,
Yep, so save the skin. We'll chop some of that up and mix in. That's all flavor and fat and deliciousness. So check this out. So there are two awesome parts in the pig's head. One is the cheek right here. Okay. This cheek muscle is fantastic. This is the jowl, which is like the alternative to bacon. It's like the jaw alternative to bacon with the fattiness. Both are just incredible flavors and textures. So what I do sometimes, I'll save this and make a soup with it.
Nice.
And instead of picking all the meat off, and it'll come off as you're making the stock. Works really well. God, this smells so good. Hey, this is Sparta! Last part, we're gonna season this. So now we got all this meat. We got about 40% of the pig in meat. We're gonna take the Carolina sauce, put a little bit on. We'll put the Carolina sauce on, and then all that vinegar is gonna cut through the fattiness. And then if it needs any seasoning, it shouldn't because we brined it. We'll hit it with a little more of the rub we used.
Okay.
So give it a taste now that has the vinegar.
That's awesome.
Huge difference, right?
That's so good.
That's good.
That's it.
Yeah,
Now we go eat.
that is so simple and delicious.
Yeah, right?
Makes a huge difference, the vinegar. It cuts through, it like brings all the pork flavor out. So I think neighbor Mike had a really good time roasting the pig. I know I had fun. We have a lot of pork actually from that little guy. You get about 40% yield of meat per the whole pig weight. But this was fantastic. Thank you guys so much. If you like what you see, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, click the bell for notifications, and I'm gonna eat. Have a good day.